Yeah, this part of the poem is really inspired by reading a book by financial journalist Nicholas Shaxson, Treasure Island, Tax Havens and the Men Who Stole the World. For me, that was an important book, basically. It was really a book that showed the extent to which the political system had been captured by corporate power, and it's really illustrating how the UK is at the centre of the world's largest sort of offshore tax haven system, if you like. So this section of the book is very informed by those ideas. Maxis, Nearside Front, cost us a lot of monias, the new safe pair of hands installed to ensure that while the people starved, the bankers didn't. Advised leaders never to lift a lorry load of lemon muffins while racing wildly. In the interests of air clarity, he convinced voters of the need for a triple bypass on the double yokers and perseverated about whether it was cheese and fish sauce or fish and cheese sauce on the menu. You start off saying I can't starve, he said, when in fact you can, and you persuade yourself into a state of actual starvation. Decisively, he called an emergency summit to discuss how to make marzipan penguins for Christmas. Maxis, offside front. The meat has become so moist, young vermin leave a wet mark as they crawl. Gradually, the flesh flows in every direction, an icicle before the fire, as crisis acquires fresh seven-segmented legs with fine hairs sticking to surfaces, may produce fresh thinking or become locked into debtors' words: void, abyss, brink, precipice, staring, really staring. To-do list shortens to two, save marriage, sort rags. It's the rain that makes you beautiful. Maxis, near side back, deadly exploding breasts, 30,000 French women no longer empowered by industrial silicon. The puppeteering concept was faulty. Press head button and observe. Rackets and rampant capitalism, synchronised with genetic memory of winter, scrub, sand sedge and stone grey sea, prisoner of war camp style caravans, clustered in ranks against wind's ferocity, a single line of houses between seethe of sea foam and train tracks, offshore, a metaphor. Maxis, offside back, resting uncertainly in the internal bosom of hot love, he felt his squeezed middle, not a gastric band, wobble. The neutrinos were mutating. When you're in a rolling dwarf-based mall, I need to see more bodies at the breakdown, has taken us to places we never wanted to go. I can't bring her up. I don't have the money. Sorry. But offshore, new Estee Lauder moisturisers for my skin have made a big difference. All there's my head. It will take a few months to grow. Still a bit bloody. Michelin, offside front. Negotiating with his structured reality, a dog runs off lead. Across beach, lifting pink, sandstone, pause. Can you synchronise with your animus while I find a dish for Nibbles, your latest avatar? And whose assets are those anyway? Darn this joystick. Penny forgot to order the fog machine. Ryan, do you have to be a 2-ton rock right now? Royal pain has sabotaged the anti-grav device. The school is falling from the sky. Cheese cube? Michelin, near side back. Welcome to Capital Flight Airlines, where your name is on nothing. Sorry about the church steeple we took out when we dropped the cocaine, but first, let's join commuters on Britain's worst service, where you can enjoy a square foot to stand in and only 3 carriages. Someone needs to go down there and explain the offside rule before we say goodbye to upward mobility. Remember, memory is not designed to perfectly replay the past, but to construct flexible futures. Delete/insert details here. Yeah, the next cluster of tyres, Uniroyal, near side front, and this first poem here was very influenced by I was reading a lot of sci-fi at the time. According to eyewitnesses, aliens have been using everyday items to make high-tech devices. In Much Haddam, for example, a vacuum cleaner-like device to suck up the very idea of a liberal society, headlines about fluff to cause chaos. The tripod-like fighting machines are loaded with air-to-surface apathy missiles containing astroturf confetti, smelling of boy sweat and overdone pizza. Ownership becomes a short-term bet using hedge funds made from household blenders. The aliens themselves have a liquid core, values-wise, can osmose into humans, but have no regard for life. Spaceborne Spartans, they're practicing a death cult. Uniroyal, offside front. Did prehistoric man have bone music discos, Saturday night FEMA, the funk factoring of tibia and fibula in the caves of mutually assured destruction, musical marathons alternating blisters and bliss in the hard minutes that follow the clinical kosh, the eerie discharge of erotic heat, always with the potential for disaster, vital that the patient keeps the leg elevated and doesn't let it dangle, grinding down the depths low and slow with ice flame austerity. Uniroyal, near side back. On a slippery slope of inductive reasoning without adequate footwear and chased by fire-breathing Balrogs with buckets of soapy water, we risk perishing to slay the dead demons, that or bankruptcy, the usual material fallacy propagated by the sudden death cult. The lack of cognitive dissonance around the confusion of necessary and sufficient conditions was alarming, as was the omnipresence of badly dressed straw men alleging misrepresentation and smelling like the third world. But who said thought reform wasn't easy? Opium induces sleep because it has a soporific quality. I'm going to fast forward to the end of the poem, and I'm going to read a poem that's one of six where you've got spare tyre counterparts. So gradually, as the poem kind of nears its end, slowly the idea emerges that the poem as a whole is a kind of shop for selling tyres, and indeed one of the original inspirations for the collection was an actual tyre shop on Stockport Road, and let's say its idea of visual merchandising was limited. Yokohama, offside back. The galvanic skin response to this work of art is good, so long as you can assume it isn't a fake or as near to authenticity as a Wonga moment. It depended on the particular neural pathway you took, whether you ended up with a whoops or a wowzer, and of course on how much you'd been told beforehand about the variables, which were many and shifting in response to the price of scrap metal. For that bus shelter, I'll give you 86 notes. Imagine a shop window display, 4 pairs of tyres, and hanging from a nail, a pair of plastic trousers. Yokohama, offside back, second hand. The rear of this poem has low production values. Let us test those supposes about black pudding. If the deep ecology dream of a return to nature is a necessary step in overcoming our apartness from Yorkshire pudding. Illusions hermetically sealed. We can re-inhabit when we are coiled. The power emanating from 4 black puddings in the fridge. The hard European disco of poverty, a problem of social structures and economic mismanagement, usually served sliced and fried or girled as part of a traditional textual aporia. The front end is made of helium. No blood was used in its manufacture. Right, we're going to try one final poem. This poem, we're going to try an experiment. We're going to have 3 readers here. It's a poem for 3 voices. So, Richard and Rachel are going to join me. Yep.
Yeah.
So if you're one in the first section, and then in 2, you're 2. Yeah. Okay, this poem, it's really it's a collage prose non-fiction poem, and basically it's really a poem exploring the ways in which kind of outrageous ideas or disreputable ideas become mainstream, acceptable, and the poem's really suggesting that that process is akin to the process of money laundering, whereby dirty money is made clean. Hopefully it'll become apparent.
Okay, it's called
steam cleaning.
1. The man said, I need to tell you something. I have no legs. It looks like I do. But I was attacked in the Blue Planet Aquarium by a shark. They're prosthetic.
That perfectly describes what takes place. Illegal or dirty money is put through a cycle of transactions or washed so that it comes out the other end as legal or clean money.
Everyone has their imperfections, she said. I have a tattoo of Noddy Holder on my arse.
The process has 3 steps. 1. Placement. The launderer inserts the dirty money into a legitimate financial institution. 2. Layering. Sending the money through various financial transactions to change its form and make it difficult to follow. 3. Integration. The money re-enters the mainstream economy in legitimate-looking form.
Why don't you get it erased?
Wealth can be greater than the sum of its parts.
Is it dark there?
Offshore financial structures typically involve a trick sometimes known as laddering, a practice also expressed by the French word saucissonnage, meaning to slice something into pieces like a sausage. When a structure is sliced between several jurisdictions, each provides a new legal or accounting wrapper around the assets, which are usually located elsewhere. A Caymanian lawyer in the 1970s explained how his clients would worry about Fidel Castro's Cuba next door and would insist on special clauses to compensate them if Castro invaded. I had to explain that Castro wouldn't find any money in the safe, he said. They're all really held in New York or London.
Yes. How long have you been dating?
A limited liability corporation might offer certified copies of the passports of that company's director. That looks reassuring, but even with genuine passport copies, you're no closer to knowing who really owns the company or its assets. These directors are probably professional nominees who work for hundreds of such corporations. Typically, a nominee director will route all queries via a company attorney who has contact with the real people, and when crime fighters come looking, the attorney will hide behind attorney-client privilege and claim they cannot reveal the information.
Sometimes I feel that you over-identify with your body as the location, the home of yourself. It's just a temporary site.
An aged shelf company will help you pretend you've been trading for years when in fact you just started up.
What do you most like about yourself?
Imagine you put $100 cash into your onshore bank with a 10% reserve requirement, meaning that the bank may lend out only $90 of that to somebody else. That person now has $90 to spend. By a roundabout route, that $90 will end up in another bank account. That next bank may then lend 90% of that out, meaning that $81 more will end up being lent, and the process just goes on. This is a well-known principle, fractional reserve banking, and if you follow the calculations tirelessly through, you will find that with a 10% reserve requirement, your $100 balloons out into $1,000 spread across the economy.
What were you doing in the shark tank in the Blue Planet Aquarium?
Section 2.
Look, the only way out of this jail is through the sewers.
The age of irresponsibility is giving way to the age of austerity. Dynamism in this context requires successful organisations to demonstrate strategic ability and to possess risk resilience.
Seen the movie Shawshank Redemption? We can go through the floor of the communal area and access the pipes. Once into the network, there's an infinite corridor. It's the length of three football pitches. The layout of the pipe allows it to capture the filth at a particular moment, creating a sort of mudslide phenomenon. In mid-November and late February every year, given favourable conditions, the filth sluices down the entire length of the pipe. But this time it's going to be bringing us with it. Think of it like the infinite library, the digital revolution in motion.
On the day that Sunbeam's board of directors revealed the name of their new CEO, the share price skyrocketed from $12.50 to $18.63. It was the largest jump in New York Stock Exchange history. On a day a few months later that Dunlap announced that half of Sunbeam's 12,000 employees would be fired. According to the New York Times, this was in percentage terms the largest workforce reduction of its kind ever. The share price shot up again to $28. In fact, the only time the price wavered during those heady months was when Business Week revealed that he had failed to show up to his parents' funerals and had, according to his first wife, threatened her with a knife. Together, Dunlap and the shareholders went on a year-long rampage across rural America, closing plants in Shibuya and Bay Springs and Oriole, Mississippi, and Cookeville, Tennessee, and Paragould, Arkansas, and Coushatta, Louisiana, and on, turning communities across the American South into ghost towns. With each plant closure, the Sunbeam share price soared.
What about the smell?
We only have so much altruism in us. Economists like me think of altruism as a valuable and rare good that needs conserving. Far better to conserve it by designing a system in which people's wants will be satisfied by individuals being selfish and saving that altruism for our families, our friends, and the many social problems in this world that markets cannot solve. It's okay, we're bringing with us a revolutionary development in waterless urinal technology. Call it the whiff of freedom.
Financial markets are incredibly powerful aggregators of information and are often better predictors than traditional methods. One advantage of prediction markets over traditional intelligence gathering is that markets are not subject to the distortions of information caused by bureaucratic and political pressures. The virtues of a terrorism futures market is that it would poke, prod and awaken a stubborn intelligence community to the predictive powers of the free market. It would open our eyes to the fact the probability of events can be measured in terms of the bets people are willing to take.
Whiff away. Isn't that what I piss on in the John?
Smells like Pope. His Holiness commissions custom-made perfume. Pope Benedict XVI has commissioned a signature scent just for him. His Holiness's custom-made eau de cologne will convey his love of nature, peace and tranquility. Section 3.
Through sloth, the roof sinks in, and through indolence, the house leaks.
I try and budget each day like a daily allowance. So it'll just mean that when the yoghurt's gone, it's gone, and when the fruit's gone, it's gone. We'll just have to go without things. That's just the way it's going to have to be.
Slothfulness casts into a deep sleep, and the idle person will suffer hunger.
Research shows that the more you use, the more you lose. The Biggest Loser Club is scientifically proven to help you lose £1 a week, and we will celebrate your success along the way with motivating charts that track your progress and changing body shape. You are not alone in this weight loss journey. I will be there to give you a pat on the back or a G-up whenever you need one, and you will get plenty of extra support from our online community of members, nutritionists and exercise experts. So join the team and become a member of the Biggest Loser Club today. So no more excuses.
This we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat.
Bob was a star programmer earning a six-figure salary at an American infrastructure company. Quarter after quarter, his performance review noted him as the best developer in the building. The company belatedly discovered that Bob had outsourced his own job to a Chinese software company for a fifth of his pay. When the company checked his web browsing history, a typical workday for Bob was 9 a.m, arrive and surf Reddit for a couple of hours, watch cat videos. 11:30 a.m, take lunch. 1 p.m, eBay. 2 p.m-ish, Facebook updates, LinkedIn. 4:40 p.m, end of day, update email to management. 5 p.m, go home. That's it.